This is Raj Khanna with Your Mom's Basement, and we're here with Christos Gage, writer of Stormwatch for Wildstorm. So tell us, for those people who aren't familiar with the new Stormwatch, can you give us a little capsule summary?
Yeah, absolutely. Stormwatch originally was a United Nations-sponsored crisis response team of superhumans. It was huge, well-funded. They had an orbital satellite that was their headquarters, and they did superheroic things. And then it all went to hell. Stormwatch itself there was a big crisis where they were nearly destroyed, and the United Nations decided that it was too expensive, so they cut off funding. So now Stormwatch is a unit solely of the US government. Their budget is much smaller, and they have to operate under all these restrictions. So knowing that they can't be everywhere at once the way it used to be, Jackson King, who is the director of Stormwatch, decides that what's really needed are units, specially trained units of police in each major city to respond to post-human crises. And so he establishes the first of what he calls the post-human division, which is PHD, which is people who do not necessarily have superpowers but have an expertise in the area of the superhuman world and use that expertise to find cost-effective and effective ways to bring down superhumans. So it's sort of MacGyver meets superheroes, if you will. So there's a bunch of dysfunctional personalities, a couple of former supervillains on there. They all have major issues, and we're up to number 4 so far. Each of the first few issues is a done-in-one story, so you can jump on at any time, and we've been getting great critical reaction and reviews, so I'm very happy about that.
Would you call it more of a street-level look at the new Wildstorm universe?
Yes, absolutely, because you've got books like Authority and Wildcats that look at the big picture, if you will, the global, the galactic scene. And what we'd never really seen in the Wildstorm universe is a street-level look. So here, you see grim and gritty is a cliche in comics. It's not that, but you see what it's like to be an average person who lives in a world where, Miami gets destroyed by an alien spaceship crashing into it, and, where there are literally superhumans hovering above the world like gods who could at any moment destroy your life. So that's what it's, yeah.
Do you have any plans in the future to, do any kind of crossovers or, have a more integrated feel to things? I know right in the beginning it was meant to be more self-contained. Is there any plan to do any or have, cameos or things like that?
Yeah, there definitely is. For the first few issues, we wanted to sort of get the book established on its own, but starting with about issue 8, we're going to start seeing the team move into the wider Wildstorm universe. Gail Simone and I are big fans of each other's books, so you may see a little bit of crossovers there. Probably at first in the form of cameos and guest appearances rather than out and out, crossovers. But you will be seeing PHD interact more with the larger Wildstorm universe, and probably I Love Tranquility, which is one of Gail's books. So we may see that as the first one.
Now, obviously there was something of a reboot in the Wildstorm universe. How familiar were you with the older versions, and did you reference any of that, or how much of that did you reference for your book?
Well, I was very familiar. I'd read the Warren Ellis issues, I'd read some of the Image issues, and before I started writing, I went back and read everything. But I'd already read a lot of it, and I was very familiar with it, and what I wanted to try to do with Stormwatch PHD is create a book that a brand new reader can come to and be on the same footing as a longtime reader, in that a lot of the characters are new characters, and they're in a new circumstance. So in a sense, you're starting at on the ground floor. Everyone's in the same boat. They're in a new situation with new circumstances. However, if you're a longtime reader, you're going to find little references here and there that will mean more to you than they would to someone who's coming to it for the first time. But someone coming to it for the first time is not going to miss any of the story or fail to appreciate it because of that. So I'm trying to do a little bit of a balancing act, give the longtime fans something to sink their teeth into, but also make it accessible to everyone. And I've heard from a lot of brand new readers who've never read a Stormwatch book before that they are enjoying it. So
Great. Now, while we're here at the DC booth, any plans for more, writing opportunities in Wildstorm or DC, or any dream characters that you'd like to get your hands on?
Well, I've always wanted to do the Suicide Squad, but now that John Ostrander's back doing it, I want to read his first, and then when he's done, I want to do mine. I recently did the final issue of Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, number 214, which had Deadshot in it, which was a lot of fun, drawn by Phil Winslade beautifully. And I have an issue, a story in Worldstorm number 2, which is out in March, which Phil Jimenez and Keith Giffen did the second story. I did the first story, or I don't know which order they're in, but my story is with Ryan Sook, who's a fantastic artist, and I'm really, really excited about working with him. And it features Savant and a new incarnation of a classic Wildstorm character, and I can't say any more about that, but everyone should check it out and hopefully enjoy it. And Stormwatch Prime will be making an appearance in that as well.
Okay, one last question. You've done now 2 Deadshot related things, Legend of the Dark Knight, the Deadshot miniseries. More stories for Deadshot in the future in your head that you want to tell, or?
I could always do more Deadshot. Deadshot's my boy. I could always do more Deadshot stuff, so yeah, whenever they want me to, they know I'm right here. And like I said, right now I'm most excited about reading John Ostrander's take on it, and Gail's been doing a fantastic job, Gail Simone on Secret Six. So, I love what those guys are doing, but anytime they want me to do a Deadshot story, I am right here.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.